Well, you know, the lack of rain this year has been a real issue. It seems to get worse with every year, and it's really affected our blueberries. We've had a lot of blueberries, as you can see, but they haven't been as big and juicy as in years past. Yep. They seem to plump up after the rain. You can see them right there. Yep. A little bit smaller than they have been in previous years. But they're still tasty. Well, except for the little ones. Except for whatever reason, even with the rain, well, they don't plump up anymore. I guess they're too old. But we had some rain last night. And now, some of them have plumped up to our delight. So let's give them a bite. Now, since it rained last night, I can tell you, they're now nice and juicy. Woo, sweet and bright. Now's the time to pick some more. But some of them will never recover. As you can see right here. These right here are hard and dry. They'll never plump up, no matter how much rain falls through the night. Yeah, Spooky. The blueberries have been a little sad this year. Of course, I do think pretty much everything's been sad. Now, if you listen closely, you'll know who's come. My queen of the yard. Oh, well, hello there, friends and family. So good to see you again. We were out here doing a little walkabout, checking on what little we have left growing. Because, yep, like I say, it's been a tough year. Yeah, we got things in way too late. The drought and the heat wave came way too early and stayed too late. But you can only do what you can do and what you can afford to do. And this year, I've learned you can only allow yourself to throw so much money away on what you got growing before the cost is way too higher than the benefit. But like always, we're glad you could stop by and spend a little bit of your time with us here on the property in the deep south of Alabama. And I got my faithful companion with me, one of three at my feet. Cleo, you're supposed to clean up before we get on camera. Cleo, you were just scratching my feet a minute ago, but I guess you know I'm gonna walk. Speedy, you chilling out in the shade? Well, I don't blame you, because it's 93. It's supposed to be feeling like 105. And that's in the shade. Oh, and then of course, we got Spooky. We got them all right here with me. If we take a walkabout and check what little bit we still got growing on. And here's some more examples. What happens to blueberries with a lack of rain. They don't ripen up. They stay real small. You know, this seems like a bumper crop, and it was. And there was promises of a great blueberry haul. Now we have ate quite a few. And what I'm learning, just looking at this particular high bush variety here, which I'm not sure whether it was a Brightwell, a Premier, or a Powder Blue, this one has fared the worst through this drought and heat. Yes, it has. You can see the size difference there. These will never plump up. Or some of these, and this is a powder blue. Now I can tell because you can see the powdery blueness on each berry right there. And these are going to be nice and plump and juicy, where the smaller ones will not. Let's give one a try and see before we eat a few. Yep. That's mighty fine. But here's some examples of the ones that have dried right up. Yep. Early heat waves and continuous heat waves and lack of rain hasn't been kind to the blueberries this year. Over here in the south side garden bed, we're still trying to grow some collards. And for a couple of weeks, well, the army worms went away. But as you can see, they're back today. And they have been the last few weeks, or few days, pardon me. They were looking mighty fine, making a comeback. But as you can see now, they're rather eat up. And you gotta turn every leaf and look for those worms, because they'll be there. But so far, I only saw one. Woo, there's a passel on them just yesterday. And our cherry tomatoes, they've been hanging in there doing the best of everything. You can see many here starting to ripen up. And we've been enjoying, you know, a few, not much. My tomato crop this year has probably done the worst than I can ever remember in my life. And of course the better boys, they're just really sad. Just little spindly things, not much growth, just getting long. All they've been able to do, even though I water every day, most days twice a day, they've just barely been hanging on. Yep, worst tomato year I've ever had. And if you watch the channel for any length of time, you'll know normally I have a ton of tomatoes, but it ain't been that way this year. So yeah, friend and family, it has been a tough year, and that's for many reasons that if you, again, have been with the channel any length of time, you're probably aware of. Because of my cancer diagnosis and all the tests and everything associated with it, well, we've really been struggling. I struggle from the fatigue of COPD, and on top of that, we've got the fatigue from the hormone therapy, and we're about to start radiation treatment. Yep, Cleo's back at my feet. Cleo, you're just bound and determined not to let Papa walk, aren't you, sweetie? You my queen. I love you too. I love my Cleo. Cleo, Cleo. I love you. You love Papa? You seem to love me a lot, and I'm grateful for that. But that storm that popped up last night was rather brisk, to say the least. And as always, it's knocked a few limbs out of the pecan trees. And even though we only finished up grass mowing a couple of days ago, it's gonna need mowing in a couple of days more. Just enough rain to keep the grass growing and vibrant. But over here at the Old Tire Planters, here again, we've had some casualties. As you can see, this is our last remaining collard plant. It's looking really, really beat up. And there's a little egg sac of army worms. There's another one. You see that little yellow dot? So we got to smush them and check under each leaf. And sure enough, look right there. More army worms. Did you hear them scream as we smushed them away? Sorry, kids, but it has to be done. And these were looking mighty fine. The leaves didn't have a hole in them. Nothing. Yep, there's some more right there. But we're back fighting. I mean, this was all clear yesterday, and now there's some on almost every leaf. Unbelievable. year for armyworms. This too has been the worst year for the worms that I can ever remember. And this is the last surviving plant of 7 in this old tire planter. But even the peppers have struggled. Though they're hanging on. The lunchbox here, we've ate quite a few. And as you can see, it's got quite a few more. But it too has just sort of been surviving and not thriving. And so has the banana pepper, which has some mighty fine ones there that'll go great in my eggs, a meatloaf, or a stir fry. And you can see our bell peppers, even though they're sort of misshapen, they're still hanging on. There's another one, 2 more over there. And on this one, we've got 2 more too. Oh, there's a 3rd one right there. But here again, it gets to be a reoccurring theme. This too has been my worst pepper year. And even though I got the grass all cut, I still got to do some weed whacking and trimming all around the perimeter and around the trees. Well, that rain brought up some fire ants, as I can see right here. Ooh, I bet there's a pile of them in there. Oh yeah, look at there. They're everywhere. And if you don't live in the deep south, you probably don't know what these are all about. And I got them on my shoe. And boy, you don't want them to get up your pants, because they will mess you up. And they're coming to attack. Whew. Watch out, Spooky. Watch out, they're everywhere. Well, I thought I was far enough away, but I guess not. Well, I don't need them to bite me. I think I got them all. Nope, there's another one, there's another one, there's another one. Woo, we better get back away from that. So yep, we'll have to come out and put some poison out. It's the only way to get rid of fire ants. One got me on the finger, and it stings a lot. See that, Spooky? Stay away. But I will admit, the yard looks much better. And it was a task, and we still got more to do. Like I say, we got a weed whack around the trees. We got some areas like the old burn pile, the old raised bed over here. It's got to be cleaned out. And then just go around the perimeter of the property, get it all spruced up and looking fine, and get the old garden area cleaned out. But I'll say this, because of your suggestions, I called the city and I talked to the building inspector, and he was very nice and kind. Once I explained my situation, he said, don't worry about it. Just do the best you can, and it'll be fine. He even told me he hoped that I got much better, and he'd pray for me. So, can't complain about that. Because in a little small town, you know, they still got some heart and kindness downtown. So yeah, it won't be but a day or two. I'll have to mow again. And little by little, I'll get out here and get it all back the way it should be. But for now, we got the majority of it. And the city gave us a break. And I'm forever grateful of that. And over here you can see the compost pile has been a-growing and getting rather big. This is about 20 foot long. When I finished up the other day, it was just 3 days ago, this was up about thigh high. The rains compressed it down. Of course, the worms underneath it are all starting to munch and be happy. And like always, they'll eat it down to this level. It'll be nothing but pure compost and earth castings. Ooh, and that's mighty fine. But you know, I love my little piece of property. I've got my bamboo forest, bird sanctuary, as you all know. And the kitty crew loves it because it's way cooler in there than it is out here, like most forests are. But here's the old clothesline planting, and you'll see some disparity. Yep, starting to grow up with weeds, which is rather unusual for me. The peppers, well, we harvested a few. I think about 6 or 7. It dropped many of them, and they almost died. But they're starting to make a comeback too, as you can see right here. Green growth is coming back, blossoms are coming back. So I'm thinking they may make it through if I can stay up with taking care of them. Cleo. Uh-oh, Cleo. Get that squirrel. Go get him. Because that was another episode we had this week. Yep, the squirrels got us. Oh, look at there, Cleo. Look at there. There's another lunchbox right there. We didn't know about that. And the squash plant didn't make it. We got one squash off it, and then it started drying up. Powdery mildew came through and took it out. So maybe when we get closer to fall, I'll direct seed a couple of seeds and see if I can have some squash by the end of the year. Still got plenty of time. And then of course, the early girl tomatoes, which I knew once I found out they were early girls, and I planted them so late. The heat was already upon us, low to mid-90s, and they don't like that. Because early girls are meant to be an early season tomato. You know, you plant in spring, so you'll get tomatoes in a jiffy and quick. But heat, not what they like. When I planted them, like I said, it was already way too hot. And no amount of water would save them. Except this little spindly one, which still has a tomato on it. And we're leaving it be. What do you think, Cleo? Will it survive? But I'm thinking about starting some tomatoes from seed to put them out in the fall. You know, if I start them now and let them grow off in the pots for 3 to 4 weeks, that should get us on into September, put them on out, and we still might make a tomato crop this year. But yeah, this is the worst this has looked in all the years I've gardened this spot. In many spots I never got to. Like right down here, and what's left of my netting, where I normally put cucumbers in. Never got around to planting it, because I knew it was too late for cucumbers. So I didn't even bother. Well, come on guys, let's head on over to the peak. Oh, there's a branch that came down in the storm. Well, Cleo, Spooky, grab that and drag it out front, okay? So let's go check the fig tree. As always, I've been fighting the birds to try to get, you know, a juicy fig. But here again, this has been affected by the drought. Woo, look at there. There's one right there. Oh yeah. Look at that. And it's perfectly ripe. I've just got to eat it, and there's not enough to share. Oh my Lord. Oh, so sweet, so fruity. Thank you, birds, for leaving me that one. Oh, there's another one. Look at that one right there. Woo! Look at that, perfectly ripe. Also, nice and rosy red, juicy. Oh, what a delight. I'm glad I came out, because I bet they would have got him before morning. And that's how it goes. The birds get some, I get some. There's another one right there. And here too, right up here. Ooh, nice. Just getting soft and plump, fully ripe. Well, after y'all head on out, cause yeah, as much as I'd like to share, there's really not enough to divide up. With all of you, you wouldn't even get a taste. Oh, and there's Alice, resting in the shade. Yep, my little girl. She's doing quite fine. About time to give her another bath. And good news is, we got a brand new automated car wash over on Gilmer Street in Tallahassee. So, you know, we're all gonna have to go and try it out. It's called Rich's Car Wash, and it ain't been finished up but a week or two. But overall, the yard's whipped back into shape. The city gave me a break, so I sort of got a breather, because I got more tests coming up next week. And I went down to Alabama Cancer Care this past Wednesday and had another procedure too. But hey, since Spooky's already picked his place on the front porch, let's sit down, chat a while before we head on in. Because food time is coming up soon. Right, Spooky? Yeah, my faithful companions. My yard panthers. They love me a lot. I'm so thankful for all of them, as I am all of you. Spooky, you comfortable down there? Everything cool? I'll bet that concrete is cool. Come on, Cleo. Grab your place, or go get Speedy. She's dragging behind. Leave her alone, Spooky. You know she'll whoop you. Come on, Cleo. You can get right here in between Papa's feet. Oh, there you are again, friend and family. So yeah, that's my little bit of gardening and how it's all come out this year. And like I say, if you've been with the channel any length of time, you'll know that's quite unusual for me. Normally, even though I don't plant a lot anymore, I have bumper crops. And I've been thinking about that over the last week or two. And there's reasons why that came to be. First of all, I went in way too late. I should have been in by Good Friday. And I was putting things in, you know, the first week or two of June. You know, it don't normally get in the mid to high 90s in early June, but this year it did, and it lasted pretty much all through June and July. The plants were struggling no matter how much water I gave them. And there was another reason for that. Since I did buy plants so late, you know, they were rather old and in those small pots, and they were root bound, and the roots had died. And when I pulled up those tomato plants, and even the collards too, I could see the new root growth was rather slim. And a lot of the roots, you could tell, were dead. And they died in the pot because they'd been in them too long. So that's another thing to learn. Get your plants early from the store or wherever you get them, or start your own. And don't leave them in the pots. As soon as they got 2 or 3 leaves, start getting them in the ground. I know all this, but this year it didn't come to pass. I've always been a little late, but this year I was late extreme. But then again, like with the tomatoes, I thought I was getting better boys, and I got early girls. And even after I realized that, which was a little too late because there wasn't much selection to choose from, I really thought maybe I could pull it out. Knowing all as well, they're an early season, they prefer cooler temperatures, which, based on when I planted them, that wasn't going to happen. And I got what I thought. They burned up and died. Even the squashes. Around here, you want to have your squashes in by Good Friday. And the reason you want to get in early, and this is something I haven't thought about in quite some time, is during those cool early temperatures of spring, it allows the plants to develop their root system. It allows the roots to grow down deep. My plants couldn't do that. And that was something I saw when I pulled them up. The plants hadn't went any deeper than the depth of the pot when I pulled them up. And with the drought, that deep depthness of soil dried out a lot. And then just, you hit them with water in the morning. And around here, with the way the heat's been, the water I gave them in the morning, and boy, I saturated the soil, of course. Gravity takes its effects, and my soil drains well. Well, that water would drain down, the sun would come out, bake the soil dry to where everything was wilting by 11 again. And I'd come out and water again. But then, by the time they were in the shade or the sun was down low, they'd be starting to wilt again. But I wasn't going to water 3 times. Because sometimes, we as gardeners, we don't take into consideration the amount of time, money, and effort we're throwing into things. You get in that mode where you just don't want them to die. But sometimes you got to look back and go, is what I'm doing and the cost of doing it worth the reward? And this year, it definitely wasn't. Yeah, and like I said, I did have what they call a cat simulation at Alabama Cancer Center last Wednesday. And that's just where they basically set you up. One thing they do is make a mold of your leg positioning that positions you in the CAT scan, which a CAT scan is used to direct the radiation beam specifically to your cancer, where it's located. They put some semi-permanent marks on your body so they can line you up as your treatment starts. And they identify the mold they made to position your lower body in the CAT scan, so they'll have it for every time I go in for treatment. The only thing that was sort of discomforting and unusual in this particular treatment I've chosen is they have to put a bladder up your outer, rectum, that forces the prostate up into the position they want it to be to direct the radiation and optimize it to kill the tumor. And that'll have to be done for each one of the treatments that I go to. So that's no fun. It's not that it hurts. Let's just say it's awkward, embarrassing. If you had a choice, you wouldn't want it done. So yeah, I just figured I'd come out and chat with you a while. Show you how my garden came out. See, this is real life here. I don't make videos just to make money and create content and show you only the good. In doing so, nobody benefits from that. And here again, this whole channel started out and still primarily is to leave something behind for my kids and my grandkids, my friends and family, now which many of you are a part. So yeah, if I don't show you the good, the bad, and the ugly of my everyday life, well, you think it's all rosy, when sometimes it's not. So with that all said, it is getting, close to food time for the kitty crew and for me, and of course little Gracie too. So I'm going to have to leave you with this and head on inside. Hey, if the camera charges back up by the time I start to prepare my meager meal, I might share it with you if you'd like me to. Of course, since it's Sunday, the kitty crew is going to have tuna. It's a Sunday ritual. Yes, it is. And boy, do they love tuna on Sundays, let me tell you. So hey, until at least two of the kitty crew, Cleo and Spooky, laying at my feet. Speedy went under Alice because it's cooler there. The princess of the house, Gracie, and of course sometimes Heathcliff, Fluffy Muffin, and now Dusty. See you on that next episode of Mr. Tom's Neighborhood. Y'all take care, stay safe, and may God bless you as you bless those in your lives. And remember, we love you for all that you do for us here in our little piece of paradise in the deep south of Alabama. Goodbye for now. Spooky, that little walkabout got you all tuckered out, didn't it? You're asleep. Cleo, are you asleep? Or are you just lounging? Oh, you're just lounging? Okay. Well, let Papa go in and download the video and see what I can scrounge up for me, because you already know what you're having today. Yep. Maybe we should change it to Tuna Tuesdays? No. It's always been on Sundays when we have a big meal. So yeah, maybe in the comments below the video, you'll tell me how your gardening experiences came out this year and what state you might live in. Not like we're going to look you up or find you. So that sort of gives me an idea of the area you're in and what you experienced too. So yeah, that's all we got for this episode of Mr. Tom's Neighborhood. So until we see you again, later all.